Eliza Bleu. Big Mad Crab. Love it. Eliza Green, because of the green screen, it became Eliza Black.
Sure.
Okay, so what's been going on? Does anybody know who Eliza Bleu is? I think most of you do. Some of you do. Well, Eliza Bleu is
You put a poll up.
I did. What were the results of that poll? It was 50-50 early on. Did I end that poll? I don't know how to end it. It's 50-50 according to this.
I could look.
But anyway.
It is 50-50 now. Still.
Back on November 23rd, he says, it would be nice if the public found out the truth about what's actually been going on with Twitter over the past 10 years as it pertains to their failure around the issue of removing child sexual abuse material at scale. Notice the date on that. That's like 9 days before the Twitter files. And if you read Matt's timeline, it was after this that Elon called him and offered to hand him all this. She is partially responsible, if not solely responsible, for the Twitter files themselves. I don't know if anybody knows this or realizes. So I wanted to crop that. That's kind of important, kind of relevant. But I also wanted to crop this. In the last 8 months, and I wrote this to Eliza, I got to learn about her, executive produced a live stream where she was a guest, then got to read and share this important collection of quotes and support from people across the political spectrum about Julian Assange. And then the past 5 weeks has happened after her speech in D.C. Wow. And what's going on? Well, on December 1st, she says this will be the last update about child pornography before Elon Musk took ownership. This comes out on the first of every month, story in the thread. So 44,000 accounts on child pornography were eliminated from Twitter. Not enough. Improved manpower, technology. Right? And this was right after they eliminated a bunch of people, which they're now working on restaffing and throwing back. And I wanted to point out, Teresa Kelly, who's also a fan of the network and the show, pointed out to Eliza that she has over 150,000 followers that are seeing her tweets and able to respond. However, George Galloway has over 400,000 and barely 100 people are seeing his important truth-telling tweets. Please stop giving Elon credit for things until he walks his talk. Accept it. And I feel you, but he's eliminating leftists everywhere. Garland Nixon, he's kicked Jackson Hinkle off 3 times. Child sexual abuse stuff and addressing that is a separate issue from this, and we can still give him credit for that. But she says after Matt's release, she says soon she wants to do the Twitter files CSE. And then this guy Andrea, who he came out with a whole thing about what Twitter is doing to fight exploitation, and there's a whole big thing. In the past 24 hours, again, Twitter started to step up efforts and took down 44,000 suspicious accounts, including over 1,300 profiles that tried to bypass detection using code words and text and images to communicate. Zero tolerance. So Eliza's comment to Teresa and to everyone is that a few things can be true at once. That there is still child sexual abuse exploitation material on Twitter. There are still hashtags engaging in distributing exploitation content. Twitter is working hard to remove the content. And here's where to report. Report.cybertip.org. Eliza then goes into a Twitter Spaces held by Mario. 5.5 hours.
It's me.
And at the end of it, Eliza jumps on the last 20 minutes and talks to Elon. Now, again, this is not obviously Elon, but
yeah,
he says, thank you for the shout out. He directly shouts her out. Thank you for prioritizing the vulnerable and voiceless. All right. When Elon said priority number 1, I'm a father too, right? So am I. Again, 5.5 hours. He took an open forum questions.
What's his kid's name?
Oh, goodness. Aeon, whatever. Blah, 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 X12.
X, yeah.
But this was when he also agreed to do the poll about Julian Assange and Edward Snowden that ended up getting 80%. Let them go. Set them free. But Eliza ended up on this call, and she says, "Sorry, I had to leave. I'm at work. I just cried in front of 200,000 people. I think we just cried
That's
together."
nothing, Eliza.
Wow, wow. Just all right. And then Tara saying in yesterday's spaces, Elon acknowledged the powerful work of Eliza to advocate for children and the commitment of Twitter to protect children online. Eliza's been a tireless advocate for
Mm-hmm.
human sexual trafficking survivors. And she's thanking everyone who supported her. I'll keep updating Twitter, but ultimately my work here is done. I'm moving my public advocacy to focusing on advocating for the thousands of survivors abused and exploited at the hands of the UN globally. Yes, it's happening there too. I'll never stop fighting for the survivors of Twitter, both in public and in private. I love you. I always have and I always will, and I'm not leaving you. Thank you to everyone who supported my advocacy, and I'm just getting started. I totally believe that. And somebody says, I got to say, this is news to me. The UN is engaging in human trafficking. Is there evidence? Well, this is on their own website. And on December 4th, they're talking about victim blaming. And she's like, yeah, well, there's no excuse for this either. No arrests. I told her this was in the slideshow tonight. Do some PR on these nuts. Love her.
These nuts. Ha! Got him.
Yeah. So she also is of the opinion that independent and citizen journalists covering one topic relentlessly and accurately is the new media. Elon Musk says, I'm removing child sexual exploitation of Twitter my number one priority. He makes the changes. U.S. government, investigate Elon Musk and other Twitter HQ members. Curious. 60,000 likes. Look at her go. There is still child sexual abuse and exploitation material on Twitter. This issue will take a long time to eradicate, but the platform making it their top priority and removing it is a great start. Again, please report exploitation. Twitter prioritized the censorship of non-illegal speech over the removal of child sexual abuse material at scale. Let that sink in.
Yep.
That's as a result of Barry Weiss and the second Twitter files thing, with regard to the visibility filtering. All of this was going on as minor survivors begged the platform to remove their child sexual abuse material. Blacklist.
Like, oh,
gross. What kind of effect? I've been following you for a while, and I really believe you had a big hand in this by making Elon aware of it. And he has a lot on his plate. And to break through all that noise isn't easy. Him mentioning you shows me that you had a hand in this. Bravo. Yes, Eliza. Yes, she did. And then what happened? She got Jack and Elon into a spaces together to address this allegation that Twitter had not been addressing child sexual exploitation before Elon took over, or effectively. Right? Jack said that it was a lie. Elon says that when Ella Irwin joined Twitter earlier this year, almost no one was working on child safety. She raised this with Ned and Parag. They rejected her staffing request. And we read that. Minor, not even major. Or maybe I read that today. I made it top priority immediately. 2.5 hours. She gets Elon and Jack. And everyone, let's settle this today and in public. Fierce. God, she's amazing.
Yep.
Tara, INN member, our sister Tara, love you to death, Tara Reid. Not that you need me to be proud of you, Eliza, but thank you for all you're doing for adult and children survivors and engaging Elon, who is taking action to protect children on Twitter. You're a rock star. And you too, Tara Bull 808. And Eliza, I know Carl, her kitty, is proud. Look at this. INN member Tara Reid. Richest man in the world. Eliza Bleu. Pretty freaking cool. Elon had no reason to promise me anything. We had no prior connection before he purchased Twitter. My favorite Elon Musk quote of all time: when something's important enough, you do it, even if the odds are not in your favor. Sounds like the Hunger Games. But
Yep.
so somebody, of course, has to go with the low smear, and it's a smear. Is this Elon Ghislaine picture? And there's a lot of controversy over this Ghislaine picture. Is this the issue? Because of course, famous child sex trafficker, allegedly
Yep.
dedicated to eliminating sex trafficking from the platform.
Well, no, not allegedly convicted.
Right now,
So
except Eliza wants to remind people that remember when a public survivor of Epstein Maxwell thanked Elon Musk after he brought up the Epstein co-conspirators not being held accountable? I do. That was in June.
mm-hmm.
That part photobomb photograph has been addressed by literally everyone except the individuals who invited her to the party. Get new material. That photo's tired and old. The real question here is why is she always invited to these events? Is that Deborah Messing?
Don't know.
And there were, again, 44,000 in a day. That was as much as there was in the month prior. And all the numbers that we've seen are that they have really made strides this month in increasing the number of accounts that are being eliminated. And to the point that somebody who's an advocate and dedicates all of her time to doing this is satisfied to the point that she's moving on to other things. So thank you, Eliza. But here, 44 billion buying Twitter, reducing child sexual exploitation, priceless. And I thought that was a good way to kind of that. And then Eliza saying that the CSA material that Twitter 2.0 has removed over the last 72 hours, that was yesterday, in some cases had been on Twitter for 4 years. It had 10 million collective views.
Jesus. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. I need a shower. That was gross. Sorry, but important.
Jesus Christ.
Not enough people are talking about Eliza Bleu. Not enough people are talking about what's still happening on Twitter with regard to trafficking, CSE, and it's wow. She's amazing. I totally behind her. And I'll amplify her story all day long. So keep them coming. Keep fighting the fight. We're right behind you, and you got a lot of people that are right behind you, and a ton of support and a ton of love out there for you. Thank you, Eliza.
Yeah.
All right.